Hey, what's up guys? Tetrach here. I just wanted to go over a config that I put up on the Steam. In the Steam. Sounds so awesome. Yeah, up on Steam and show you how I use it, why I use it, and for anybody interested in giving this a try. A lot of people use mouse pad to do most of their controlling, but what this does is free up the mouse pads to kind of use them however you want to use them. And it actually makes makes the gameplay more unique, in my opinion, a lot more fun. Um, so let me go ahead and take care of this guy, and I'll show you how this works. Okay. So under controller configurations here, this is Tetrach's unique config. You can find this under, if you browse the configs and go to community, it's going to be in here somewhere mixed with all these tons of other ones, which, there's some really good ones in here. I just kind of like to push the Steam controller to see what it's capable of doing, and come up some crazy configurations rather than what everybody else is using. Not that it's bad, theirs are bad. I just, always trying to figure out better ways to do things. Okay, so I'm still working. There's some things I'm setting up like this. I need to get in here and set this up a little better. But mostly I'm going to be in combat. So default has a mouse pad, right? Which I don't use. And mouse gyro. All right. Combat, what it does is it uses a mouse region, and if you ever use mouse region on your pad, basically it makes everything one-to-one, right? So if you touch the pad somewhere, the mouse automatically jumps to that position because it basically is taking that pad and putting it over the whole screen per se. Now explain. Imagine the circle covering the whole screen. You can adjust that a circle size so it doesn't take up the whole screen. A lot of people use mouse region on the thumbstick for movement on these types of games. Um, so what I am doing though is I'm using mouse region on the gyro, the accelerometer, and it makes the game really cool because you uh, can't really use any other mouse because it takes over the mouse, right? Mouse region does. Um, so your pads become free to do whatever they want, whatever you want to do with them. All right, you can't put a mouse region, but I have a quick way of adjusting if I need to use a pad. Basically, if I come over here um, to additional settings, this remove action layer combat. If I hold my thumb on it on the center of that directional pad, it switches to default, and then I'm able to use a pad when I need to, and then when I remove my thumb, I got it set up, it comes back to combat mode. So, or you can use the back button to remove it, so you don't, you can free up your thumb. You don't have to hold it on that left thumb pad. All right. So combat mode, the way the mouse gyro works, one-to-one, there's always going to be a center position that you're holding your controller at, so you're going to get used to doing that, holding the controller a certain way. If I go up to a certain point and I come back and I go up, you're going to see that it always is going to be at the same angle, right? So then what ends up happening is it all becomes muscle memory, and you're going to just get, it's going to become natural on how far you need to go to pull to get somewhere, right? The easiest way I can explain this too is if you think your controller basically became a giant analog stick, right? So if I pull back, it's going to go up. If I push forward, you can reverse it if that's confusing. These are more like flight sticks almost, I guess you could say. It's like a flight stick. So pulling up is going to go up, pushing forward, it's going to go down, pulling to the left, pulling to the right, and it does have yaw in here to help with turning too, okay, which is nice. So you'll get used to just being able to twist the controller and move it around where you need to go. All right. So jumping between it, if I put my thumb in the middle of the pad of that left pad, you see how the mouse stopped jittering? It's because it's not using mouse region anymore. It just jumped default, right? The way I have default set up is left thumb pad, right? So you can tell a difference on how it moves, right? And it's got gyro on also. Yes, I'm a big fan of gyro, but if I soft pull, I can slow it down, right? So I can make more precise movements while I'm in that mode. So if I open up inventory here, I can put my thumb down, and then I'm in this mode. If I need to, hover over something without moving too much with the gyro, you'll get used to it just by soft pulling and such. So what that allows me to do basically is it allowed me to put all my potions, right, which I've seen this a lot in other configs, on the thumbstick. So basically I hold my thumb on that thumbstick all the time, right? My number one though is on my right bumper. So looking at this here, go to combat because you're going to be in this mode most of the time. Tapping it's going to give me potion 1, right? And then long holding that button, long pressing that button is going to give me potion 5. And I know this seems like there's a lot of things going on here. That's because I'm trying to use this to its full potential, the controller, and there's a lot of things that I like to try to experiment with and get used to it. And then once I do, I'm like, wow, this works actually pretty well. So down is potion 2, to the left is potion 3, to the right is 4, and up is 5. The other ones it's showing are all long presses. So if I hold them, it's going to switch to inventory. If I hold up, it'll switch to inventory. Holding left is going to keyboard. Holding right is going to be social tab. And holding down is for return. And the reason I have that set up is because if I'm selling stuff, I can get in there real quick and just, type to them through the Steam keyboard, which is very inefficient. I do have a wireless keyboard. I do use that. I tend to use that more, but sometimes, if I'm doing real quick, I can get in there and I don't want to pick up the keyboard. I can use that. And I'll show you how that works here. Basically, these are all presses. You can change that. I found that requires click on is nice because if my thumb accidentally touches it, it just does whatever the action is. So I left key press on. So up is inventory, and that I didn't have inventory over here. I'm used to it now, but I had it over here for a while. X switch weapons, P, which means I can use that inventory for something else now, and down C, and then holding will bring up the world map. So character sheet and world map down, and holding will bring up world map. These over here basically are, I use, the trade macro. So when I have trade macro activated, which it should be right now, so say I hold over this, I can see how that worked. I can just look at the item and it tells me about it, right? Or I can get an idea of what it's going for on the market. Trade macros. So I got this set up for trade macros. That means you can set them up however you want. I don't know. It's kind of however you want to use that. And then in these here, this is basically, I just keep my thumb on the buttons now. So the buttons are all my attacks and movements. So A to move or attack with whatever I have, left mouse, right mouse, QW, and then button pad. This is basically a mode shift, right? for my other buttons, E, R, T, and M. That means all I do is click that and it switches and I can use those. I've been trying to get used to that. It's something new I'm starting to do with that, but I also have middle mouse and R set up here. So, and then to bring up map is tab, hold for left shift, so if you need to do a shift, soft pull for alt, and full pull, is it soft pull? Oh no, soft pull for control, and then full pull for alt, so if you need to view something, compare stuff, you just full pull on that. But that's the basics of these controls and how they work. So so if I wanted to break this up, I just hold that left and I hit B or A and I can do whatever I want here, right? Broke it up. So split stacks, you know, holding it and then hitting B on your scroll of wisdom if you need to do multiple, right? Okay, there is a map mode too that I have built into this thing. What that means is if I let's see. For some reason it's not working. Map mode. Make sure I got the, oh, it doesn't have it. For some reason it took the apply action layer off. That's weird. I did delete one recently, so I'm wondering if that actually messed that up. That would be sucky. That'd be a weird bug. So what the map mode does is basically lets me kind of control the map with my thumbstick, and then I click it again, it puts me back into combat mode. So I'll show you. I just want to make sure that this removes. See how it messed all these up? That's weird. Alright, I hope it didn't mess up everything up. Okay, so if I go to map mode, it brings up the map, and then I can just use the thumbstick to kind of move it around if I need to. And if I click it again, it's going to put me in combat mode, right? And I can go back to what I was doing. So just something I've been toying with. I need to make it work a little bit better because I have to hit the tab button to get back out, otherwise it keeps switching me back and forth. But it's an idea I've been toying with here recently, because you could just bring up tab by left, you know, with your left grip, and just bring up the map itself. So, so by using the control this way, I don't have to keep one of my thumbs on the thumb pad, you know, if I, you know, and it allows me to use the buttons for all my attacks, which I know you could basically get used to using the other buttons, you know, to do everything that you need to do. But this kind of makes it almost feel like a gamepad, you know. You will have to get used to it moving kind of jittering, because you know it's detecting all your movements in your hand. So if you're a really shaky person, this may not be the best mode for you, you know. But there is a way that you can kind of get around this. I'll show you.
I must have time to gather my will.
Basically, you can just tap your, this guy's here. Tap your thumb on that left thumb pad, and it'll actually make it stop. I am just getting bombarded here. fairly new to this game, guys. I'm still trying to learn builds, and I mean, I could get online and look up what the best thing to do is, but I think part of the fun of this game is kind of experimenting with your own, and eventually I'll go look at a build and see how they do stuff. Okay, so you see how it's jittering around? If I want to, I just hold my thumb pad and see how it stopped jittering, because I switch into default mode, right, which is this. And when I let go, it switches back to the combat, which is mouse region. So if I needed to, I can make it stop jittering, pretty easily. So if I need to check something out, if I want to see, I don't know if I can do that. No, I can pick it up and see, but. So let's see. So I can see all its stats on that weapon. Searching gives me the results. That's all through trade macro, right? Then holding down is going to bring up the chat. Hey, somebody looking to buy something. Dang it. So it brings up this. I can whisper that player. Bring up the keyboard, right? And I will tell you, I do not like this keyboard that much. I'm going to use this. I have my keyboard right in front of me. So, but you can use that. You see how it's used. He probably doesn't want it. What is that? The new bug. I think it's misspelled that. So that's pretty much how this is used. So I'm using this basically, and like I said, if I needed to get around with this, I can. This is with thumb pad to do inventory management, and then let go, and it brings me back. Now, if I wanted to stay in default, all I got to do is hit the back button, and I don't have to keep my thumb on that pad, and I can just use it normally, right? So, and I used to play with the mouse gyro always on, but I actually prefer the mouse gyro now. It's just because it's consistent. It hasn't failed yet. Unlike the mouse gyro, which, like I said, you get some drifting, and all of a sudden it starts drifting off to the left or up to the right, and then you have to turn your controller off and to have it reset. So for me, and to get back, all I had to do is tap the center of that directional pad, and it just automatically puts me in default mode. I mean, back in combat mode. So that's basically it. Show you how the hell this could work. I used to have the A where it was, which is your left mouse, right? I'll show you real quick because I found it to work really awesome, but yeah, Path of Exiles, they didn't like it too much. But right here where left mouse was, I used to have it set on regular press, hold to repeat, right? And I brought it down a little bit, so I'll just show you what that does. Basically, it's just going to constantly press the A button, right? And yeah, they said I was using that key too much, which is, you know, they don't like that. So, but I found it really good. If I needed to pick up items, I just just kind of like held it down, and as long as it was touching it, just kind of picked it up because it kept clicking it, right? It was pretty cool, and then I could switch targets real easily or jump off real easily, you know. Let's see. I don't know what that even means. Alright, screw it. So yeah, that was it's pretty nice. That's on my default though. You can see how he's skipping. It's because it's pressing the A button that many times, you know. Guess I could do that to pick up items, maybe. I don't know. Just constantly have these ideas. Steam controller is so diverse. I mean, once you get used to using it, it's one of the best controllers on the market, I think. Yeah, there's the mouse and keyboard definitely is more accurate, but this is almost a game within itself playing with this thing. It's so fun. As you can tell, I mean, it's not like I'm having a hard time targeting things either. If I need to get something, I can and be off on my way. I mean, I'm not using the thumb pad at all, guys. So the worst thing is the jittering, because, you know, I had to get used to that. So, and holding the controller really shows you how this way kind of shows you how they really intended the controller to be held. Like a lot of people might hold the Steam controller the wrong way. At least I was. So that kind of taught me the correct way to actually hold this controller. Anyways, that's basically it. If you guys have any questions, leave it in comments. Let me know what you think of this idea. Maybe some way I can improve. I'm always looking for ideas. New ways to use this thing. another one up there? What the heck happened here? Like my button got stuck. Go. Anyways, good luck, guys. Hope you have fun trying this out. It does take a second to get used to. All right, have a good one.